What is up guys, it's Troy at The Full Setup here, back with another video for you, and today we're taking a look at this microphone right here. This is the SE Electronics Dynacaster, and this is SE's first broadcast dynamic microphone, and it's based on their award-winning V7 capsule. Now this microphone retails at £225, which is that sort of awkward middle price point between your sort of £100 pod mic and then your £350 gold standard SM7B. But SE have packed this microphone with features that I think are going to really grab your attention, and I definitely think it's worth the money and worth your consideration. There's three things that this microphone does exceptionally well, and I'm going to tell you about them now. Number one, there is a 3-in-1 pop filter, and I'm telling you, you're probably not even going to need to go to 4-in-1 and use the included pop filter, because it works absolutely fantastic, and just the body and size of this microphone is awesome. Now on the back as well, there is multiple switches, which I know some microphones have filters and pads and stuff, but this has some really cool ones. So there is a high pass filter, which I'm not using, I'm just on flat at the moment, but there's also a bass boost. And on the other side, where dynamic microphones can normally sound a little bit dark, this actually has 2 high frequency boosts as well. So I'm using the first out of the 2, which is just adding a nice little bit of brightness to it, a little bit of articulation. And for anyone that's like myself, as much as I think that SM7B is an awesome microphone, was just too dark for my voice, this could be something that I would be willing to consider. Now, the third one is what really sets this dynamic microphone apart from every other dynamic microphone on the market. I can't believe that no one's actually done this to this point. So this microphone, I'm actually running 48 volts of phantom power into it because it has its own preamp built in. This features the SE DM1 Dynamite, which gives 30 dB of clean gain. So I think right now on my interface, I can't see it because it's right behind me. I think I've got about 18 to 20 dB of gain coming into this to get it up to a good signal. Now, anyone that doesn't know what the Dynamite is, it's essentially the same as like a cloud lifter or a FET-head. So like I said, built into the mic, I don't have to run anything in line. Awesome. Why did nobody think of that? This mic is starting to look like good value now for £225. So here is the front of the box. We've got a picture of the Dynacaster. Side of the box, which is upside down there. More pictures of the Dynacaster. Just make sure we're focused there. It's a bit hard to know if you can see that because I'm looking at a little camera screen, but it's just got a picture of the microphone disassembled a little bit and a few things about it. And that is about it, really. So let's have a little look inside the box then. That's what it all looks like. That's how it all comes. There is a foam pop filter. I'm just going to remove the Rode one that I've got on my RE320 for a quick comparison. They are about the same size. This one has SE written on it though, so that's whether you're either going to really like that or you're not. Almost like this is made for other microphones as well, so it's got like another smaller little hole. But I don't think you're actually going to need to use this, okay? I don't think you're going to need to use this. Is the microphone in a lot of bubble wrap. I'm glad that it's wrapped well, but it would have been nice to maybe see it in like a, a sort of foamy insert. Let's just get the box out of the way. You then get a SE sticker, another SE sticker, so that's 2 stickers. Bandra would be really happy about that. And then you get an SE Electronics warranty information, and there is, I don't know if you can see that there's a little picture of the frequency response and a little bit about the specs as well. So here is the microphone then. It's a really compact mic for anyone that's maybe use like a Procaster. I've actually got the RE320, which is a big mic, similar size to the Procaster, in the Procaster shock mount with the Procaster pop filter. So it's a big old unit here. We've got the SE logo on it there. We've got the red pop filter insert. I'd really like to see them sell these in other colors. If they were aiming for sort of like streamers and to try and get them in, for me personally, I'd maybe like a blue or a purple. The red I understand because that's your brand, and it still looks fantastic. There's a really nice feel to this. Definitely got some weight to it. It weighs 850 grams. And then we have this adjustable piece here that you can also put the XLR connection into. There is also a 3/8 to 5/8 connection in there as well, which I think you can unscrew. That does look like you can unscrew that. So on the back of the microphone, you've got all of the switches here. Okay, so this little one at the back is going to turn on, the middle one is going to turn on the SE Dynamite preamp. So you're going to have to enable 48 volts of phantom power on your audio interface, and that is going to give you 30 dBs of extra pure gain. So you can pretty much use this with any audio interface on the market. You then have over here, you have a high pass filter. I will put the frequency response chart up as well alongside this so you can have a little look. So this is going to be the high pass filter, which is a bit weird here. It looks like they start to roll off at about 1K. It slowly brings it down, which is a bit odd. But I think the main roll off is going to be around somewhere around the 100 Hertz there. So you might want to use that, you might not. I prefer to set about a 60 to 80, depending on how close I am to the microphone. You've then also got a bass boost as well on this, so you can boost the frequencies up a little bit. And again, you can see it's almost like a gradual uplift from sort of just before one kilohertz, and then that is going to go up to about what looks around about 3 dB at 200, I would say, at 200 Hertz, and then down to slowly rolling off at 100 Hertz. So yeah, you might like this, you might not. It could sound a little bit muddy, which we'll find out when we test it in a second and plug it all in. I know there's a few areas in that sort of 200 to 300 Hertz that I like to put some cuts in my EQ. So yeah, it might be good, but then at the same time, it might not be for everyone. But if you want that boomy, bassy sound, I'm sure that'll be good for you. You then have sort of just the flat frequency here. And I don't know if you can see this. It's going to be quite hard. I'll try and zoom in. But there are two high shelves. So the first high shelf, the peak on that one, looking to be around 4 to 5 dB at about 9 to 10 kilohertz is where it starts to roll off. It then has an even higher shelf, which is almost, I would say that's probably a 9 dB boost, again around that 9 to 10 kilohertz frequency. But it's really nice to see this on. This is one reason why I didn't like the SM7B and went to the RE320, because it was so dark on the top. Now this pop filter is incredibly well constructed. This is where you're probably not even going to need to use that foam one. See, you've got that red foam at the front there. That's pop filter number 1. You've got the foam filter on the side, which is pop filter number 2. And then I don't know if you can see inside there, but there is almost like there's an extra filter. So there is a mesh filter inside of that as well. So this is a 3-layer pop filter. I mean, this is going to be really good. So here is the main unit here without the pop filter on. There is a suspension in here as well. You can see that it does move around. There's a lot of moving around going on. Neodymium magnet. Okay, so let's just go through the specs of this a little bit, why I screw it back on. So it is a cardioid. There you go, you can see it on the end there. It's a cardioid capsule, which is odd because it's based on the V7 microphone, and I think the V7's a supercardioid or hypercardioid. So I was expecting this to also be a supercardioid or a hypercardioid. That's a cardioid's going to give you a pretty tight pickup pattern, and it is going to, you know, have really good off-axis rejection anyway because it is a dynamic microphone. But yeah, supercardioid and hypercardioid will give you an even tighter pickup pattern, but it does pick up some sound from the rear, both super and hyper. So it has a frequency range of 20 Hertz to 19 kilohertz. Like I said, you can put 48 volts of phantom power in this as well. It's got a sensitivity of -54 and also -24 dBV. So it's -24 if you have the SE Dynamite enabled, and then it's -54 if you don't have it enabled. Okay then, so back to the microphone. We're running it completely flat at the moment, and I'm not the biggest fan of it like this. I do think that it's just dark. That's one thing that, although dynamic microphones have a lot of benefits, that's definitely one of their drawbacks compared to, like, you know, a condenser based microphone. But I know people would probably want to listen to it, you know, with nothing added, and this is it. Okay, this is what it sounds like. Pumping purple platypus. Pumping purple platypus. Pumping purple platypus. Pumping purple platypus. I'm going to just put the filter on. Pumping purple platypus. Pumping purple platypus. Pumping purple platypus. It does so well. It does so well. I do find that if you are someone that breathes out heavy though, like when you're streaming, if you're going blah, 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 and then you just take a massive breathe out or breath in, that is somewhere where this can come a little bit useful. But this is one thing that I just absolutely love about the microphone, just the general size of it. So this thing is almost like a condenser size. Okay, next test. So it does have built-in suspension. So I'm just tapping the mic here, giving it a little move around, and it does a pretty good job. So this is me now right up on the microphone testing the proximity effect. This is me now about 6 inches away from the microphone. This is me now 1 foot away from the microphone. I just don't think I'm ready to do that type of voice on YouTube yet. This is me now talking into the side of the microphone, right up on it. This is me now talking into the side microphone from about 2 inches away. This is me now talking into the other side of the microphone, right up on it. And this is me now talking into the other side of the microphone from 3 inches away. And now I'm talking into the back of the microphone. I've been trying to learn mic technique of late. So I've been trying to learn all those voices. And I totally forgot to mention about the acoustic treatment. So yeah, there is some foam behind me. And yeah, there is a little rug below me. And yeah, there is some curtains on the window over there. But this room all the way over there is a big open plan lounge. I'm in the diner and it is literally like Echo City. So this is probably what the microphone would sound like in a lightly treated environment. But if you were in a big room and you only put treatment in one corner, that's how this microphone would sound. So should we do some tests then on the back? So what you're listening to right now is the microphone with the high pass filter enabled. As you can hear, it's taken some of the bass out of the voice, but from when I was looking at the frequency response on it, there's a little bit of a roll off when it's flat anyway. And I just prefer it in that flat mode. This is now the microphone with the high pass filter, but we have the first presence boost up in the top end. This has given us around a 3 to 4 dB of presence boost. And as you can hear, like I said earlier, things just sound a little bit more clear, a little bit more airy, and a little bit more articulate. This, I imagine, is going to be the setting that a lot of people would be using with this microphone, especially if you're putting it straight into the interface and then out to something like Zoom or Teams. That's just going to remove some of those bassy rumble stuff in the background, and then it's also going to give you that nice little bit of bite in the top. Now we're using the high pass filter, but we have the highest of the shelves. Highest of the high shelves, the shelf that Troy can't reach because he's 5'4". That shelf is now engaged, and a lot of people aren't going to like this. They're going to say it's too bright and it's too sibilant and all of this sort of stuff. I mean, if you've used an RE320, this is not bright, okay? This isn't as bright as my RE320. In fact, I find it's just about, it sounds like from what I've been listening to tests, almost in between an RE20 and an RE320. So people might like that. But if your voice is, nasty up in the top end, you might not like it being set like this. Another thing as well is sometimes that when you boost high frequencies, it might sound very nice at first, but then after like sort of 40 minutes, an hour talking usage, it starts to become, a little bit fatiguing and a little bit nasty. So we are now back to the mode that I was at the beginning of the video. So that is flat on the low end, because there is that little bit of roll off, and I do like that little bit of bassiness coming in there. And then we have the first sort of high shelf in there, bringing a bit of something in. Now, this is the one that I would probably recommend that most people use if you're going to be doing a bit of processing later, or you're adding some filters in OBS. I really like the sound of this, and the reason is I think the bottom end is in between sort of like a Procaster and an SM7B. That there's some bottom end there, and then you get that little bit of sparkle and sheen at the top, almost like an RE20. I'm not saying this has the top end of the RE20 and the bottom end of the SM7B. Don't freak out. It's not like a merge between both mics, which I know a lot of people would want. But I'm saying that it's of that sort of style. It gets you sort of partly to where you might want to be. So that's a big consideration there. And that's what I'm liking, because the RE320, as much as I love the top end on it, and I like the variable D technology for going backwards and forwards, when you want that little bit of warmth and boom in the bottom, it's just where the 320 misses out. So this is now the low end, still flat, but we've gone for the highest of the high shelves. This could be really piercing for you right now. It could be like bleeding your ears. I don't know. If it's bleeding your ears, let me know in the comment section. But I like it. I like it. I do like it. I can't decide which one of those top end frequencies that I want to use anyway. From these initial tests, I can't decide which ones that I want to use. We're going V-shaped. That's right. We are going V-shaped. So now we've enabled that bass boost. Listen to that there. That is with the bass boosted and the first high shelf. It's not for me. It's too muddy in the bottom end. It's just a bit too boomy. Maybe with some EQ, like I said earlier on in the video, that I might enjoy it a bit more. But for me, it's just bringing in that muddiness that I don't like with the bass boost on. If you haven't got a lot of bass in your voice, again, this could be perfect for you. But for me, no. And then this is the big V. So this is the bass boosted and with the highest of the high shelves again. So we've got that V going on. You're going to either love this or you're going to hate it. For me, it's not quite for me. This is not the config that I would do. And this now is the bass boosted, but it's flat. And again, like I said, it's just a bit too muddy for me. Just doesn't really work with my voice. It's just something that I don't think I can do. Okay. But again, you might really like this feature. And now we are back to my favorite configuration so far. So that is flat at the low end and then the first high shelf. But I am probably going to move on to the second one. But this, from my initial assessments, is what I like the most and probably what I know you on the other ends of the internet are going to like the most as well. So what do I think of the Dynacaster then? I like it. I'm going to have to do quite a lot of testing between this and the RE320 and decide that I want to use. It's a hard one. I am starting to think that the 320 is too bright and it's a bit too much for my voice. And I feel that one of these filters is going to be just right. So at the moment I'm just on flat and then I've got the first little high shelf going on in there. But I do like the variable D technology on the RE320. I am someone that moves around quite a lot and I found that I need to be a little bit more static when using this microphone. The RE320 I can dart around a little bit and it doesn't sound like it dips in and out of sound. It just maintains it very well. I do think it's at a very difficult price point. I think that both this and the RE320, what they suffer from is, you know, you go out and you buy a dynamic microphone. You're either going to buy a pod mic or an AT2040, something like that, but it's going to be £80 to £100. If you were then looking to upgrade, you know, most people then are going to go, well, I want an SM7B or I want an RE20. And it's just because of how they're marketed and how they're pushed out to you and the fact that you see something like the SM7B everywhere. So that's why people skip over, you know, dynamic microphones in that £200 to £250 price point. And that's nothing to do with the quality of the product that's on offer there. It's just how people buy stuff and how people purchase things. That is the overall problem. I would very much like to see a cheaper version of this without the Dynamite. I absolutely love that the Dynamite is built into this microphone. Sort of a little bit like the Shure, is it the MV7 with the, you know, it's a USB and also an XLR, but then they also do, is it just the MV7X where it's just an XLR? I think lowering the price point there, if you could get this mic to £150 and put it up against the Procaster, then that would open up a lot of sales there. I think that's something that you could do. I don't know if I've already mentioned about the pop filter, but it's awesome, the 3-in-1 pop filter, and the fact that, you know, you don't really need to put this on. You know, nice compact size, all the filters on the back as well, so you can sort of, you know, set up almost a bit of a little EQ or just how you want it to shape on your sound before processing, just to get that in before you're recording. Great. Also going to be good for Zoom and Teams and stuff like that as well, that you've just got a few switches on the back. Not a fan of this. I know a lot of people like this cable going in the top. The problem is, as I said earlier, so if the mic spun around the other way, it's fine because the nut's here. But I've had to take the little screw thing I used to tighten it off because I can't get the cable down. So that's just, you know, something that annoys me a bit, but not as bad as the SM7B because we haven't got any wire on show. So I'm not really worried about that there. Sound wise of it, I do quite like the sound of it. The only thing I was noticing, I've been trying to zoom in on the frequency response from it because it's hard when you've got all of the other, you know, curves built in for all the switches. But the mids don't look completely flat to me on this microphone, and I can sort of hear it on my microphone here. So there might be a new spot that I now have to EQ on my voice that I didn't before. Again, I need to listen to it all back afterwards. I'm only monitoring it on my headphones, and it's a bit awkward because I can obviously hear my voice and then they're closed back and in your head. I need a new pair of monitoring headphones. MDR 7506s, even with the pads, I don't know why everyone raves about them. Anyway, that's it from me today. If you like this video, leave a like. If you really like this video, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any questions or anything you would like to know about this microphone, please do let me know in the comment section and I'll get back to you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.